Hello and welcome back to episode 16 of the On The Gas podcast. I hope you've had a great week. We discussed the finale of 2022. 2022? Word.
The fact you thought about that and
I know.
still went with 2022.
Yeah, the 2022.
2024 MotoGP season, of course, with the champion being crowned. Aleix Espargaro doing some incredible defending work. Marc Marquez and his sponsor changes. How we think Pecco is going to fare next year. Obviously, our opinions on the new MotoGP logo and everything else in between. Lauren's was very controversial.
And prediction results.
Yes, and who won the championship on predictions.
It all came down to this.
Yeah, make sure to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Give it a like, leave it a comment, leave us a rating on Spotify as well. And we have a special additional podcast for you later this week for you to enjoy as well. So talking to this one, and hopefully by the time you listen to this, the next one will be out as well. Thank you very much and enjoy. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 16 of the On The Gas podcast. I hope you're well. Hope you had a good week, good weekend. It was an interesting weekend of MotoGP. Don't think it was the most exciting of the year, to be honest, but it was good. I'm joined again by Lauren and Cameron. Hello.
Hiya.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. What did you think of the weekend?
If it wasn't for everything that was riding on it, really, I probably would have switched off or done something else while
the first few laps of Moto2 were a bit mad because of all the crashes. Apart from that,
Yeah.
Moto
3. Yeah, Moto 3 was a typical Moto 3 race, and then David Alonso just ended up doing David Alonso things. So, that was pretty normal. And then, the fight for third in Moto 2 was really good, I have to say. But Aaron Canet was just out in the lead, and that was that.
Nailed it.
And then MotoGP, the outcome that I wanted, but a really boring race.
Yeah, I feel
like horrible saying that. Yeah. But the race itself was not interesting. The best part of the MotoGP race was Aleix Espargaro being the best friend to Jorge Martin and backing up every single person behind him to make sure that Martin had a solid third place finish. Now, Martin could have finished as low as I think 9th place, and he still would have had the championship in the bag. But what a legend Aleix Espargaro is. On his last weekend in MotoGP as a full-time rider, he could have went out for glory at his home race, and he didn't. And I just think that was incredible. So to be fair, that part of the MotoGP race was absolutely fantastic.
And then obviously,
then Alex Marquez, that was a great battle as well. And then after race comments as well from a few different riders, including Aleix, were great.
Aleix got a bit of flack, didn't he, for helping Martin?
Of course he did. Yeah,
I don't know why, because I think it was brilliant, and I don't see an issue with riders helping other riders out. We've seen it done in the past, and to be honest,
moved out of the way in 2015 for Valencia. So
to be honest, the thing is, right? So Aleix didn't do what he did, right? And Enea Bastianini got past Jorge Martin, and Alex Marquez got past Jorge Martin. He would have been 5th, and that was still enough to win the championship. If Aleix hadn't have done what he'd done, he still would have won the championship. So I just don't see why people are so angry about it. He was just being a decent sort of person and
a good friend,
sort of handing the reins over sort of thing. If Enea Bastianini could have got past him and not ended up sort of 8th place after a bit of a a close call, then, maybe he could have got involved in the fight. But, he needed to be battling with Marc Marquez and he couldn't. So, that's not Aleix's problem, in my opinion.
No, and at the end of the day, Marquez was quizzed, I think, at the end by, I think it was actually Nat on TNT. And they said, could you have overtaken Bagnaia? And he gave one of those grins that Marquez always does.
Yeah.
Of yes, but I'm not going to say yes kind of thing. And again, I think Marquez in second was maybe just, he could have overtaken Bagnaia.
Yep.
But in the same way, if he had have done that, he would have absolutely murked Bagnaia's chances for a title if Martin had crashed out. Because Bagnaia could win the race. And that would give him the best shot at the title, regardless of where Martin finishes, kind of thing. Marquez did that. I've not heard a single person say anything about Mark. And the same with Anea. Anea in the sprint race was kind of doing what he could to get in front of Martin and stay in front of Martin and protect Bagnaia. No one said a thing about that. But because Aleix was like, oh, I spend more time with Martin than I do my own wife and stuff like that. Everyone's a bit like, oh, you're protecting him and stuff. But it's like, at the end of the day, I don't know. It's a tricky one, to be honest, because I was going to say at the end of the day, it's fine, but it depends on the reasons why you're protecting and things like that. It's a bit complex, I think, because then you look at 2015 and people would have arguments for that and stuff.
Yeah, but like in this case, Aleix doing that didn't have any effect on
it didn't change the championship
outcome. Yeah. Like I just said, if those two riders had managed to get past Aleix and therefore get past Jorge Martin, he still would have won the championship. So I just don't see an issue with it whatsoever. Like, I actually think in the case, which I've already explained, of like it's his home race and his last time being a full-time MotoGP rider, for him to turn around and do what he did and not fight for the podium, I think that just shows the type of person that Aleix Espargaro is. I know sometimes he can be very hot-headed, and we've slated him in the past, and even the fact that he's been in MotoGP so long. I mean, before he sort of got involved in the Aprilia project, there was a lot of people being like, why is he still here? But I think that was the prime example of the type of person that Aleix is, and what a way to sign out by helping your best friend win the championship. Like, he had the best seat in the house. He got to see it unfold in front of his eyes. I said it a couple of times to my family. I was like, oh, I'd love to be where Aleix Espargaro is right now. I can guarantee you that he has a massive grin on his face right now. He's getting to battle with loads of different riders, be at the front, but he's also watching the championship unfold in front of his eyes. So he definitely had the best seat in the house, and what a way to be remembered, and what a way that you can remember your last race too, that you watched your best friend win the MotoGP World Championship, and you could play a small part in helping out and doing that.
He's all about family. Family. That's his thing. I think there's just like a whole poetry behind like Aleix and Martin's like situation this weekend. It was really nice. It's weird though, because like people giving these riders flack for maybe riding in such a way. Like, Aleix wasn't riding dangerously at any point. He wasn't pulling moves that just weren't on. It was just racing fair. Like, sure, he was maybe backing up a wee bit, but like he didn't not deserve to be in the position he was in.
It wasn't
like on the track.
It wasn't. Was it Adrian Fernandez helping Jaime Masia out in Moto 3?
Yeah,
that's where I was about to go. That's where I was about to go. Where it's just like the moves were over a line.
Outrageous.
There was definitely a line where it was like, nah, okay, this is a bit. Because I mean, and maybe rightly so, people were kind of outraged then, because there was definitely, I think, a line that was being crossed, but it wasn't the case here.
No.
And why are we expecting riders to be robots and just ride their race and go around as quickly as they can and not care about their relationships with any other riders or anything? Like, everyone on a bike on that track is a human being, and everything influences the way they race on that day. And Aleix's and Martin's relationship was a key factor in the way that Aleix raced. And great, fine. But like you say, even if he didn't have the pace to even be a wingman, none would have been any different. The result would have been the same. So, whatever. Like, Lego, stop being crybabies. Let's just, it is what it is. You know, it was nice to see an Aprilia not in 10th. Like, you know.
Well, Maverick was like 17th. So.
Yeah, like, come on. I think he nailed it. I think he did a hell of a job just being, like 4th or 5th? Great.
4th, yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh yeah, by the way, Jorge Martin's the champion. We've not mentioned that yet.
Yes.
Yes, Jorge Martin. Well, I mean, it was most likely outcome to happen anyway.
Statistically, yes.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm over the moon for him, to be honest, because he's been the better rider and most consistent the whole year long. Like Pecco to win 11 races in 20 race season, Grand Prix, that is, main races, outstanding. You know, his performance on a Sunday where he can just clear off, manage the pace from the front, absolutely unbelievable. But his errors have then been what have costed him this year when it comes down to the title. And, you know, I'm so happy for Martin because there's that big story of the fact that when he was in the Red Bull Rookies, he went for the tryouts and it was kind of a win or bust kind of thing. If he didn't get selected for the Red Bull Rookies, he was done. That was it. Career over, done. Had no money to race, couldn't fund another year of racing. Managed to get to Red Bull Rookies, which is free. You just have to get yourself to the track. And he won it. Got a ride with Aspar, funded by Red Bull, and the rest is absolutely history. You know, 2-time world champion now, and you know he's a multimillionaire kind of thing now. He's living the dream, and you know he even said in his interview, he was like, "I've reached my childhood goal. I've reached my dream. Everything after now is just a bonus. Every win, every championship I could win is just a bonus. I have achieved what I wanted to achieve."
I think that's pretty incredible what he sort of said at the awards ceremony last night, that he was like, this is it. Like, I actually do not care what happens now after this. And I think that's a fantastic mindset to have heading into Aprilia. He's got this new challenge and his outright speed is incredible. Like, he is probably the fastest rider in MotoGP at the minute. I don't think that's a bold statement to say that. So I'm so excited to now see him go to Aprilia, hopefully take that number 1 plate there, and just prove everyone, well, I've won the World Championship, and what? You cannot do anything about it now. You can say whatever you want to say, but I have done exactly what I set out to do. And this has been a long time coming for Jorge Martin. And I know lots of people have said, like, the crash that he had in 2021 that was nearly career ending, he's managed to come back from that, trying to get into factory Ducati and it not working out. And I'm literally going, guys, I have done everything I could possibly do to be in red and you still don't want me. What can I do? And what does he do? He goes and wins the World Championship and takes the number 1 plate to a different manufacturer. Like, you literally couldn't write it. He's done something incredible. And for that alone, I think he fully deserves it. If you were to ask me at the end of last year whether or not I thought Jorge Martin could be a world champion, I would have told you no, because he completely imploded last season when the opportunity arose to fight for the championship. He bottled it. To be honest, he lost his head in the race. He caused a big crash between him and Marc Marquez. It was really bad. And even coming into the start of this season, I was going, he needs to fix a lot of problems to be able to fight this season. And yeah, it wasn't a perfect season and he made plenty of mistakes, and he'll probably hold his hands up and say, yeah, I definitely did. You know, there's so many that come to mind, but he persevered and he settled when he had to, and he was consistent and he took the race wins that he could take. And yeah, the fact that he managed to keep it so cool, calm and collected this year, considering where he was this time last year, I'm mind blown, to be honest. It's fully deserving.
Yeah, I think I agree completely with what you said. And I think I mentioned a few pods ago that I think Martin is going to just go for it now. He'll win the championship because something clicked in him. And I think I said it earlier this year when I think it was Phillip Island when he was battling with Marc Marquez. And he kind of just ran at the front with Mark at that level, at that limit, didn't make a mistake, knew when to kind of claw it back and go, actually, no, I'm just going to stick with second, but could still set that lap record pace consistently, lap after lap after lap. And I said at that point, something has clicked. Now, something in Martin's head has done it, and that's the 1% he needed. And I'm not saying that's Marquez's amazing thing, because Martin had to learn that himself. And since then, we've not seen him make a single mistake. And even before that, to be honest, a few races before that, you think back, not a single mistake by Martin. I think Misano was the last big error he made. And we've seen Bagnaia make a few mistakes, crashing out of sprints in Sepang. Martin has been, a champion. He has shown exactly what you need to do and need to have to be a world champion, and he's been rewarded with that. He's come on leaps and bounds from last year where he was kind of crashing and struggling and making stupid errors. Again, at Phillip Island last year when he cooked his tyres from miles ahead and finished fifth, Zarco won the race. And you're like, what are you doing? Whereas now he's not that rider anymore, and he is a world champion, and he will only continue to get better now. And that is very intriguing as he heads into Aprilia.
Yeah. And I think taking all of this experience and his explosive speed to Aprilia, I think he's gonna do well. He's at least gonna find the absolute maximum of that Aprilia, pretty quickly.
Yeah,
and be almost doing. I can't remember if I said this in in a pod we did a few weeks ago, but I think he'll sort of perform similarly to how Acosta has done on the KTM this year, where he's found the limits and found just an extra something compared to the other riders on the same bike this season. I think we'll see a similar kind of similar season from Martin next year. I don't think he's gonna win back-to-back titles. Just really hard to do.
Especially considering he's in red
era. yeah, exactly. And this era of Ducati dominance, but yeah, he's got it in him. He's a hell of a rider, and he's a thoroughly deserving champion. I don't think anyone could take it away from him, and Pecco even said it himself. So if last year's champion, former back-to-back champion, says he deserves it, then he deserves it.
Yeah. I think
no question.
Yeah, I think this is something that needs to definitely be spoken about, is Pecco Bagnaia and how gracious he was in defeat. I don't think I've ever seen a competitor be so gracious, from start to finish, from standing in Parc Ferme, he was just really subdued, and I was like, oh, you can tell he's really raging. But then in the podium celebrations, he stood to the side and he watched, and he was, he could have walked away and went back and seen his team, but there's pictures of him standing to the side and watching Martin have his moment. And then even later on at the awards ceremony, the words that he had to say about Jorge Martin, just going, look, I wasn't good enough, but I can't take anything away from Martin and what he's managed to do, and he just had it, and I unfortunately couldn't do it. And I'll take the wins from the season, 11 wins,
the records,
absolutely fantastic.
Yep.
But I came up short. I didn't have an answer for it, sort of thing. And yeah, that's actually a lot of growth, I think, from Pecco Bagnaia. I think this season will, I think it definitely will change him for the better moving forward. He's had to accept that defeat and
hopefully humbled a bit.
Yeah, not that I think that he needed to be humbled, but I think that I can't really explain it, to be honest. I don't really know where I'm trying to take it, but I just think, he will learn from that massively. Getting so close to a third championship, third in a row, coming into that sort of almost tipping into dominance in MotoGP, something we haven't seen for quite a few years, and having that sort of ripped away from you, it is going to hurt.
Yeah.
And he clearly is very upset about it. He's wrote very emotional Instagram post even today. I felt that it came from him himself, and not just from a media team or something like that.
With him peeling the number one off.
Yeah, that was actually really sad. And as much as I wanted Jorge Martin to win the championship, someone has lost out, and I am annoyed for Pecco Bagnaia. I really thought that something big was going to happen at the weekend, but I think that's sort of how the championship ended up turning out, is that even with the perfection that came with Pecco Bagnaia's season, unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. And the consistency from Jorge Martin, funnily enough, finishing third in the sprint and the race, it sort of just was like, oh, actually, yeah, this is what this season turned into, that even though Pecco showed up, Martin was so much more consistent and just managed to just go, no, it's okay today. I can finish down here and I'll take the points, and that's what I need to do. And I mean, it was 10 points in the end that the championship was decided by, but I think this will positively impact Pecco Bagnaia in the future. And I think it'll make him a more well-rounded rider. And heading into next year with Marc Marquez as your teammate, dealing with a blow like this, hopefully it's all gonna come together. I think we could see a really scary Pecco Bagnaia next year if he can hone it in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree. I think with Pecco, I'm glad you mentioned him, because I mean, we're obviously going to talk about him, but I'm not like the biggest like Pecco fan. I'm not like, whoa, Pecco, but I can appreciate him for a rider, and the fact that he is exceptional, and on his day he is Jorge Lorenzo reincarnated kind of thing. Like, you're not beating him, you're just not. When he's on it, he's on it.
When it's all working,
it
is like just amazing, and he proved that. He gave everything he had at Catalonia, with the 1-1, won the sprint, won the main race as well, and pole as well, and like sometimes he'll go out and set a lap record that's just absolutely disgusting, like at Sepang and things like that.
Where did that come from?
I know, ridiculous. But Pecco has rocketed up in my estimations, because he has been the epitome of class and graciousness in defeat. His interview with Part Furman, he was like, no, I don't really want to talk much because I don't take anything away from Jorge Martin's victory. This is him. This is his day. He deserves it. And then he goes on Instagram earlier, makes that really heartfelt post with the photos of him peeling the number one off, which was, again, quite sad to see. But I think for him in his head, he was like, I'm peeling this off now. Like, because I thought about that, because it was quite a vulnerable post, I think, because Valtista took his number one off earlier and put a 19 on again, or maybe he asked the mechanic to do it. Can you sort that out for me? I'm going for motorhome later on. Comes back in the garage next morning, there's a 19 on the bike. But the fact that Pecco himself took the time to get the front end off his bike, sit down in his chair, peel that number one off, stick it on his heart as well, and said, in his caption, it was like, you are all number one in my heart, and I wouldn't be here without you, kind of thing. And then, but that whole thing of him peeling number one off is a kind of all right, this is my fault. I then need to then get this back. This is on me. And then he made a post to his old friend Jorge Martin on Instagram as well earlier that said, I must thank you for fighting with me to the end of the second year in a row. You made me have fun and learn. For me, it is an honor. You're a great rider and you deserve this title. Enjoy it, at Jorge Martin. And that, again, I was just like, that is just... You don't see
class.
stuff like that. That is honestly so classy. I don't think a PR person said that. I don't think a PR person's gone, do this, do this, do this. I genuinely think that is just Francesco Bagnaia at his core. And he's made mistakes. He's obviously had the drink driving ban that he's still serving at the moment and things like that. But
Dennis
he learns. I think he's... I think he is a person who is a reflective guy. He reflects on his mistakes. He reflects on things that happen that don't go his way and knows how to then fine-tune it and be better. That's why he won 2 titles in a row in MotoGP after losing to Fabio Quartararo. And, 4 seasons in a row to have a top 2 in the championship is not something to be laughed at. And
absolutely.
he will keep progressing, get better. And as you said, Lauren, about him being a even better rider next year, he will be. And he's got Marc Marquez in the garage with him, pushing him to be even better than that. And yeah, for me, Pecco is right up there now, like full respect.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a massive respect for anyone who is able to battle for a championship, and I think for Pecco as well, in this moment of like a reflection for him, he lost out in the championship in 2021 due to making too many mistakes. Jorge Martin lost out last year for making too many mistakes. It's a vicious cycle, unfortunately, and I think for it to happen, not in a similar style to how it did in 2021, but unfortunately, he does have to look at himself, and it was mistakes that he made, which is the reason why he lost out in the championship this year. And in his posts, he's made that very clear of like, look, I wasn't good enough. And I think for him to already have made that realization and do the heartfelt posts and have the number one on his heart and everything like that, like that just makes me think 100% he is like so ready for 2025. When you've got that sort of mindset and he's made the realization early and he's gone, right, there's nothing I can do about it now, let Jorge Martin celebrate, but I'm going to get that number one back next year. Like, that's a scary sort of thought. And if that Ducati continues to be what it has been and they somehow make more improvements for the 25, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. And I said it, I think it was even last week's pod, that having Marc Marquez as your teammate, like, that could really work in Pecco's favour. And
yeah,
he seems to just, I don't know, he seems to get better and better with this whole mindset thing. Initially, I thought Pecco couldn't deal with mind games and he didn't have a strong mindset. But this year, that's sort of gone out the window, and he may crash on a Saturday and then Sunday, boom, he's won the race.
yeah.
Or one week he has a terrible week and then next week 37 points, just like that. He's definitely ironing out the creases. And
Yeah.
if Mark comes in and is Marc Marquez and manages to make it work, that's either going to make Pecco absolutely unbeatable, or will the
Or
cracks
the other
begin to
way.
show again? Yeah, that's what makes me really excited for 2025,
Yep.
because all the signs are pointing to Pecco coming back with a vengeance. But because there's so many different moves in the class, I think it's too early to outright say Pecco's going to come back with this like fighting spirit. Of course he is, but there's too much like chess moves going on to call it this early.
I feel like you say, if Ducati can make another step to the GP25, I think the only person that will be able to stop Pecco is Marc.
Yeah.
Really. And I think, just overall, everything that we've just talked about in the last couple of minutes about Pecco is just symptoms of his just perpetual growth as both, just a human and as a racer. And I think next year is going to be it's just his biggest
Villain
challenge. Yeah. Well, it's going to be his biggest challenge to date, I think, because as of I think it's only going to be him and Marc. Really, I feel anyway. I can't think of anyone else that's going to be like a
25.
No, I just
no.
don't
We spoke about this.
No.
Like, he will be good.
Yeah.
And he will have good performances, but I don't see him stringing together a title fight. I just haven't seen enough from him in MotoGP to make me think he can string that together.
He had less than half the points at Marquez this year on the same bike.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, and additionally, I think it was, sorry to cut you off there, but like the stat is, to add to what you said about half the points, of the 22 podiums that the GP23 got this year, 20 of them were Marc Marquez.
Yeah, so he's I think
the other two were Alex.
There you go.
Must have been, yeah.
In terms of what you would class as S tier rider with S tier bike, I can't think of another combination other than Pecco and Marc with the GP25. Maybe the KTM or Aprilia will surprise us and it's on level, but I don't think so. So either way, there's a disadvantage for every other package on the grid. It's set those two riders.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, 100%. I think if you were to put Jorge Martin on a 25 Ducati, you'd get a three-way fight. If Fabio Quartararo was on a Ducati, I think you'd get a four-way fight. I think
Brad
there's
Binder,
a lot of riders out there.
Pedro Acosta.
Brad Binder. Yep.
Acosta for sure.
Oh, definitely.
These like raw talent guys. Yeah, for sure.
I think bloody if you put David Alonso on one, he'd be in the fight too. Like there's a lot of riders out there that I think on the correct machinery could be in the championship fight. But Cameron's 100% right. Yes, Aprilia are getting Jorge Martin and Marco Bezzecchi, but is that going to be enough? Because they have made that step. But unfortunately, in this last year, whether it just be the fact that Aleix was retiring, Maverick decided to leave the team, there's been issues there. Their consistency has not been there. I don't think they can magically fix their consistency issues in 1 year. I think maybe in a year to 2 years, a bit more development, possibly, if they can make that step. And the fact that Ducati are losing 2 bikes, they will definitely regress. But immediately, I don't think anyone is going to be able to fight against the Ducatis. And yeah, I alluded to this somehow, I think again last week's podcast, where I do think the likes of Martin will be good. And I do think he can be more consistent on the Aprilia. I think the KTMs, I think having Pedro Costa in that factory squad, Brad Binder managed to finish 5th in the championship, Pedro just behind him in 6th. That's good. Consistency, did you? A bit more consistent. Hopefully he's got his injury sorted by missing the last couple of rounds, get surgery. So, he'll be fighting fit come the next season. So there is a lot of riders who I think will be up there. But I do think it's going to be a 2-way fight.
Yeah.
Who ends up
third is going to be lit. That's going to
who ends up finishing sort of 3rd, 4th, maybe coming in and winning every so often, showing bits of brilliance. That is a big question mark. But I do think it will come down to 2 riders, and it probably will be Marc Marquez and Pecco Bagnaia. I'd be surprised if it was anything else, but testing's still to happen, so maybe by March I'll be changing my opinions. But
the GP25 could be crap.
Yeah,
we don't know yet. It probably won't be, but it might be. We just do not know. So,
yeah, we never know. I want to drop you two in it a little bit, because on Sunday you both said you don't believe Pecco will win another championship. Explain, please. After what you just said about it being a 2-way fight between Mark and Pecco.
Listen, I think there'll be blow for blow, but ultimately, from what we've seen this year, Mark still just has like a little special something that on equal machinery will tip the scales in his favor. That said, the factory Ducati has been kind of built for Pecco for the last 3-4 years, and all those years of data have been just churning away to just suit Pecco down to the ground. So it could come down to how many wet races we have, or how many dodgy conditions. Then you'd be like, right, that's kind of Mark's bag. But I do think that there's still a little bit something extra in the Marquez boots. I don't know.
I think one of them's an 8-time world champion and one of them's a 3-time world champion.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
That's a good point.
I think that's what it boils down to. And I know it might sound a bit harsh, especially after what both of us have just said, backing Pecco Bagnaia up. I think that I would have to go Marc Marquez's way on paper. When you look at the results, 100%, one has outperformed the other. So, yeah. And then, again, losing 2 Ducatis, not having that same satellite support that they have with Pramac is going to be huge. That is going to be massive.
Yeah.
And it might not be a direct effect next year, but what I've just said in all of these riders that I mentioned who are moving teams, who are going to show brilliance, maybe Marc Marquez will have it next year, but then the year after that, all those riders that I mentioned, they're going to have a year under their belt. And I do think 2027 will be a big leveler. So that's going to be interesting.
So. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I did say in my whole thing of backing Pecco Bagnaia up, it's a 50-50 thing, I think. I think he will either become the best version of himself or he will crack under the pressure.
Or it'll be the decline. Yeah.
He has shown that he has cracked under pressure. This year is the prime example. He had 2 unbelievable years. I mean, 2022 to come back from that 91-point deficit and win, that is incredible. Like, that is one of the greatest sporting achievements ever. But the cracks showed again this year in the mistakes, and that is why he lost the championship in 2021. So can he fix those? I don't know. That's why I am very 50-50 on it, but I felt like I had to defend him because he's
grown a lot.
He's been incredible this year in how he's handled himself, and there's been plenty of things that I haven't agreed on with what he said, and there's still times where he says things and I've thought maybe he's blamed the bike when he should have just gone, look, I made the mistake. I think a couple of rounds ago he was crashing out, the tires, and I'm going, just say it was you. There's other riders out there that would have just held their hands up. So on the flip side, there's plenty of things I still don't agree with Pecco Bagnaia and don't see eye to eye on, but yeah.
I don't know if I've seen Pecco have to be ruthless on track yet. No. He's perhaps taken liberties sometimes, which has like resulted in him hitting the deck, kind of like with the Marquez brothers this year.
Oh, and Maverick Vinales.
And Vinales, yes, exactly. Yeah. Like there have been times where he's maybe being overzealous, but like not like a kind of not ruthless in a way where he's made sure that someone has seen him or whatever. Like the crashes he's had have been him almost just taking liberties and being like, oh, they'll be the one that sits up and lets me through, and it's not worked out that way. Whereas when you think of these great champions like Marquez, like Rossi, like they've all got these iconic examples of them just being so cutthroat.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's my piece of track, and I'm gonna show you the front wheel, and like that's so that we don't go down, but we're going wide, or you may even go off the track. I don't know, but it's I've not seen that from Pecco, so it could be interesting to see how he deals with that if it does come to just a dogfight between him and Mark. Because
I also think that he's never had a competitive teammate. Sorry, Enea Bastianini, and sorry, Jack Miller, but neither of them have been in the title fight with him. And the whole thing that we sort of thought was going to happen with Ducati would be that Jack Miller, when it was them that got moved up, we thought he's going to aid and help Pecco. Pecco's clearly the number one rider. He's fighting for the championship. Where's Jack Miller to back him up? It didn't happen. Okay, right. They've decided to go with Enea Bastianini and not Jorge Martin. Pecco's number one rider. Enea's injured in the first season. Nothing anyone can do about that, right? He's back this year. He's fully fit. He's going to help Pecco, and they're going to be 1-2 all the time. Didn't happen. And he wasn't there this weekend, apart from in the sprint race.
He got beat up a bit in the.
He wasn't there in the main race to help
at
all. And then ended up getting annoyed at Aleix over it. And it was like, well, you could have been at the front and battling for your third in the championship, which you've now lost out on too, but you weren't able to help your teammate either. He hasn't had that competitive side. He's always just relied on a teammate to sort of be there and maybe put themselves in and finish on the podium, but he's never had a teammate that's actually been like actively battling against him and wanting to take those wins away from him. Like anytime that I can think
Rossi
that
Lorenzo thing, or
but anytime his teammate has won, Pecco hasn't been in the fight to win. That's the thing. Like when Enea Bastianini and Pecco were battling with each other, it's when Enea was with Grassini.
Yeah,
it was.
And then I can think of a few wins that Jack Miller had that Pecco was nowhere near. So he's never had to deal with that.
That second Ducati seat, it seems like for the last maybe 4 years. You could add a few more years on. Really, you go back to Bagnaia when he was with Goscinny, third in the world. Great, wasn't consistent, and I even said it at the time, wasn't consistent enough to really be. I don't think he could either make that factory Ducati would make him consistent enough to be a title fighter, or he'll just stay as he is, and it stayed as he is, incredibly inconsistent. You should not be finishing third in the world behind a GP23, fourth in the world behind a GP23. Sorry. Yeah. Then you go to Jack Miller again, never consistent enough. Good on the Pramac, good. That's as far as it goes.
Strong,
decent handful of podiums and stuff every year, but not consistent enough. And then Jorge Lorenzo was a different kind of kettle of fish because he came from Yamaha, struggled. Ducati didn't really listen to him. As soon as he gave him that cut of bath mat, bam, on it. And he won 3 races and he was on fire. And then you go even further back, Iannone was never consistent enough at Pramac to really continue that consistency in the factory bike. And again, won a race, great. Few podiums, wasn't consistent enough. Finally, though, now Ducati will have 2 riders who have proven consistency in MotoGP. It's not you've had one good season, now you're in the factory bike, or you've been great on a different manufacturer, now you're on a factory bike. It's 2 riders who are consistent on a Ducati for a whole season, one of them being on an old bike as well. So now he's on the better new bike. Surely that means more consistent, you'd think, on paper. So that's going to be interesting to see.
It's also going to be interesting to see how the team deals with that if Pecco and Marc are sort of that head and shoulders above the rest. Yeah. There's going to be a point where they're going to have to interfere. They thankfully didn't have to this year, and I'm glad that they didn't get involved whatsoever, sort of half expecting Martin's bike just to blow up on the spot, but thankfully it didn't. Nope. So I don't know, because Pecco Bagnaia, although he doesn't have the number 1 on his bike anymore, he will be number 1 in the team with Marc coming in. He still finished ahead of him in the championship this year. He's been their number 1 rider for the last 4 years now. He's still going to be number 1, but if Marc comes in and starts beating him, it's not like we haven't seen Ducati turn on riders before. I think of Dovi as the prime example.
If Pecco's not delivering, the Ducati will switch up on him.
Oh, they will chew him up and spit him out. Happily. And that's going to be horrible to look at.
It's all business to Ducati.
Listen, who wants to place a wager on Pecco being in the VR46 team in 27?
God.
With Frankie Morbidelli.
Hey, could happen. It just all it'll take is for Marc to outscore him, and then I think it wouldn't be far behind. To be honest.
But this is the thing: if Fermin Aldeguer can pull out some good performances, and if Pecco completely loses his head, and Marc is strong, a couple of years time, I wouldn't put it past them. Like, you can theorize a million things,
and they've got history of doing it at the end of the day. They've got history of it. So it's a bit of a.
It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Yeah. An interesting one that we're now seeing play out, that we've kind of been on and on about all year long, is the whole Monster Energy Marc Marquez thing.
Yeah,
that's been kind of a thing that's been holding him back. And to be honest, I was like, well, it's like he's just joining a team with pre-existing sponsors. He's going to have to get rid of his sponsors to join the team. I am absolutely blown away by the power Marc Marquez has in MotoGP. So they have a sunglasses sponsor, Carrera, and Anea has to wear them, Pecco has to wear them. I think they were both with Oakley at one point. Marc is with Oakley now, so they went, right, Carrera, Marc, Carrera, speak to each other. Marc went, nah, don't want your sunglasses, not going to wear your sunglasses. So Marc will wear Oakley next year with no logos on them because he doesn't want to wear Carrera. So that's mental in itself, that Ducati's own sponsors just being told no. And then the Monster Energy thing comes around, and you're like, well, he's a Red Bull athlete. You've seen the photos today of him in Alpine Star's cap. No Red Bull.
Yep.
There's a photo of his testing helmet, no Red Bull on it. Understandable. He's not going to be branded in Red Bull next year.
Yeah, the big
But
one.
the big one is that he won't be branded in Monster Energy either. His cap will have a Monster Energy logo underneath it, on the underside of the cap. There'll be Monster Energy on his suit. There'll be Monster Energy on his bike, because those are all dictated by the team of, well,
Yes.
we're going to put this there and that's your uniform kind of thing.
Yeah.
No logos on his helmet. And
okay.
I think he's just going to wear, an unbranded energy drink helmet. Might even have a Strega Lithia on there, which again is another one, because they have a different brand. I can actually find my own post conflicting with this. That would make it easier, wouldn't it? Because I made a post ages ago about it, about the conflicting
I was
sponsors.
really
There it is.
hoping to see, there was someone had leaked how much the Red Bull athletes all get paid.
Oh, really?
I'm really sure Marc Marquez was quite high up on the list.
Yeah, he's like
list,
one of the top two with Verstappen and Marc.
Well, Max Verstappen, funnily enough, is not the highest paid Red Bull athlete, which shocked me.
That's depressing.
But I cannot, for the life of me, I cannot remember where I found the list.
But yeah, they got Contadi Casaldi, which is like a beer thing. Marco wear Strega Lithia. I believe Marco wear Strega Lithia where the Monster Energy logos are meant to be on his helmet. I have heard one person say that he will have a Monster Energy claw on his helmet. Somebody else has said no logos on his helmet, full stop. And that's from motorsport.com, I believe. Don't quote me on that one. But from everybody I've heard, Marc can actually, outside of the paddock, continue to train as a Red Bull athlete in the Red Bull stuff and take advantage of the Red Bull facilities as well. If that's the case, that he could represent 2 energy drinks at once, or represent 1 Monster Energy, but then still work with Red Bull secretly under the radar, is absolutely bonkers to me. Absolutely mental.
Yep. Like you say, it's that pull that you have when your reputation precedes you, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just crazy stuff.
It is. It sure is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got the answer to that one. There's a few like weird changes going on with helmets and leathers at the moment. If you want to find out that one, follow Motor Racing Gear on Instagram, because I'm talking a lot about that. There's a big change. The riders had to change to day and easy because the team have told them to. There's a big helmet. A rider will actually test. I mean, the testing will be already done by the time this pod goes out, but Ryder apparently will test tomorrow with no logo on his helmet because he's changing brands. So that's interesting. And
the thing is, Deck now owes Lauren and I 20 quid each for plugging his page.
Yep.
So that's nice, isn't it?
Wow.
You can revel at me.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh.
But anyway, no, let's not.
Fine then.
Yeah.
I'll take check.
Okay. But yeah, it's an interesting one anyway with Marc, and yeah, I'm impressed at how much pull he has really in MotoGP when it comes to just go in Ducati, not going to use your sponsors, sort it out because I've already signed a contract with you.
Calls his own shots in a way.
But it's not surprising. Like, as much as he's maybe not been at the top of his game for the last however many years, like Ducati wanted Marc Marquez, so
exactly
they are going to jump through the hoops that they have to jump through. They had a perfectly good option in Enea Bastianini, or bringing in Jorge Martin, who's just proved everyone wrong by winning the championship. They could have went down that route, but no, they wanted to have Marc Marquez, and I think in that then
that shifts the power dynamic.
Yeah, they're gonna have to compromise, which I'm sure Marc is in some ways. If that means that he doesn't get the Red Bull logo on his bike or whatever like that, that'll be him compromising. But it also will be Ducati going, right, okay, let's see how we can make this work.
Yeah, that's it. It's going to be an interesting one. I'm very excited. I keep seeing all the. I mean, you may have seen me on my phone if you're watching the video. I'm not being rude. I'm just trying to keep up with everything that's going on. I made a post
He's just
half
being
an
rude,
hour ago.
guys.
When it
Of Aleix
says keep up with
Espargaro.
everything going on, he actually is catching up with
Big Brother.
I'm a celebrity. I'm a celebrity.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
Big
I'm a
Brother's
celeb.
over, guys.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
no more
Yeah.
of that.
Thank God. No, half an hour ago, Aleix posted a photo of him sat on the Honda.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So that's very cool.
Yeah.
There's
And
going
he's
to be
already screaming at it. He's like,
Yeah.
what is this?
He's like, this
What is
is
this thing?
terrible.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
anyone's going to whip it into shape, it's that man.
Honestly, yeah, I think so. Vinales actually was doing press and things for KTM today.
Yeah.
Which I was quite shocked about. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised for a lot of them. Like, I've seen so many pictures today of so many people in all their different new team kit and stuff like that, which I did sort of think would happen, but yeah, like I'm excited to see what bikes go on track tomorrow because I know the Ducatis are going to be red.
Yeah, they will.
As far as I'm aware, with just like no sponsorship on them, so that's going to be
Mark's
interesting.
will be. Pecco can run, I think, logos, but Mark
Normal.
can't, although it won't just because of conflicting sponsors. Pedro will be probably running the Red Bull KTM colours, which is, I mean, you can just pull an old suit out of his closet, can't he, really? Furman testing livery. Vinales will be back in his Red Bull colours. Jack Miller, not sure. Miguel Oliveira will be in his black
Yamahas.
suit.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to see the Yamahas.
They'll all be black,
Yamaha,
won't they?
Yeah, but still gonna be like, I don't know. I'm just excited. Excited to
see.
see
Agura is
changes.
actually in the Trackhouse colours on Instagram.
Yeah,
cool. Yeah,
already. Like, I did expect a lot today, but I didn't expect just quite so much. Everyone in all their all their new team kits and people walking around, and there's just been so many different pictures that it's hard to comprehend. It's actually like taken away from the end of the season a little bit. I feel like we've talked so much about 2025 all throughout this season. We've been so giddy about it already, but even in this podcast I'm like, well, can we talk about 2025? Can we make predictions about that? But then I'm also like, oh, it's way too early to even think about it. But yeah, tomorrow's going to be a really interesting day, and then I am really, really gonna just switch off. So sorry, everyone. You'll not see me till the new year.
Oh, right. Okay.
No, I jest. But like, the season's been so long that
we've got
can't wait
another
to get
podcast
tomorrow
to do
over.
First.
Yeah. Well, we'll get tomorrow over us. Yeah, I heard that actually.
Are you all right? Yeah, jeez. So casualty.
Oh.
Anyway.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm excited for tomorrow, and then I'm excited for a bit of a break from MotoGP.
Yeah, me too. Well, I'm sad about it. Yeah, but I'm so happy because obviously, I'm not plugging it again. Don't worry. But I'm such a nerd when it comes to riders changing gear and stuff. So for me, this is like my favorite part of the year is being a stalker on social media and seeing if riders are going to change helmets, boots, gloves, and all that malarkey, and speaking to everybody I can about it all because I'm absolutely sad and need a life.
Nerd.
No, I thought I was going to get another 20 quid there, but
loser.
That's why I do call it a nerd page. To be fair,
Glad
that's
you
the most
recognised
exciting
that.
Yeah.
No, I'm excited to talk to some riders in the off season. That's what we're gonna do.
We've got a few decent guests lined up.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. And we've seen some official confirmations as well, finally, for Moto2 and Moto3. It was confirmed today Ethan Guevara and Tony Arbolino will ride for the Pramaha Moto2 team.
Moto2.
Finally.
Yep. Cool.
Like, bloody hell, we waited how long? How long have I been saying about this?
I don't know why they waited so long, but...
No, I think maybe because the announcement for VR46 and Mastercamp leaving only came Saturday.
Yeah.
So
like official. It's all official this and official that.
Yeah, it's all boring stuff like that. And then in Moto3, I've got a list because there were some changes that were meant to happen and haven't. There's one I still can't talk about, even though it's testing on Thursday. He hasn't got a teammate either. I'll tell you after the pod. He hasn't got a teammate, which is hilarious. There's a few riders who still haven't signed for a team in Moto3. But the confirmations on Saturday came thick and fast for Moto3. Oh God, I tweeted a lot. Jesus Christ. So Sitch 58, Stefano Nepa was confirmed. In the Bowie squad, Cormac Buchanan, who from New Zealand, which I love Cormac, great guy. So buzzing with that one. Snipers team confirmed Riccardo Rossi and Nicola Carraro, which, I mean, both of them are pay riders and are very rich. So doesn't surprise me that they're teammates because they'll have a massive cash injection. Ricardo Rossi was meant to go to MLAV. That fell through. And the big one, which has kind of been known about for a while, but still came to shock for a few people who clearly don't listen to this podcast. But Dennis Foggia will return to Moto3, and he will be with the Aspar squad for next year for a title fight. Oh, and they also confirmed Maximo Quiles on Saturday, I think, or Friday. That's a big one. Quiles, managed by the Marquez brothers. Massive talent. Absolute, he could be another David Alonso, I think. Maybe not as good, don't get me wrong, but massive talent.
Well, tough for Quiles, 100%. Really want to see him in Moto3. Not so chuffed about Dennis Foggia. And
Esteban's out of the seat now because of it.
Yeah, I've nothing against Foggia personally. I don't know him. He was a fantastic Moto3 rider. Can't hold that against him. But my issue lies in having a rookie rider who has clearly maybe not met expectations this year.
Injured twice.
Yeah, missed the last round of the season. But at the end of the day, he's a rookie, and his teammate managed to do unbelievable things this year. So no matter what Joel Esteban did this year, it was not going to compare to his teammate. So to then kick him out of the team as well, I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. And
really
of course he didn't set the world alight, but I find it so horrible that coming in at the start of your career on what could be, a fantastic career, the fact that they've decided after a year to bring back Dennis Foggia, who has done nothing in Moto2, is so strange to me. And again, it's a business. They want to win championships. It makes sense. Foggia has ran at the front of Moto3 plenty of times in the past. He's come very, very close to winning the championship. So when you look at winning a championship, of course it makes sense. But for someone at the start of their career to then kick them out after a year, that could be it.
Yeah,
that could be his only shot. And you've just not supported him whatsoever. And we need to be supporting young riders like that and not kicking them out after a year.
Exactly.
Same with Xabi Zuratuza. 1 year, I said, I think last time he was too early anyway. I think even when he signed, I was like, that's too early. He missed the first 3 rounds of the season because he was too young. First 2 rounds because he was too young anyway. And both of them probably back to Junior GP next year for another year to try and then come back. Whilst, Joel Esteban, 17th in the championship, he beat 9 full-time riders in the standings. Of those 9, 6 of them have already been officially confirmed with a ride next year. Well, 5, maybe 6. And yet, Esteban doesn't have a seat. Like I say, Xabi's,
no justice.
It's just, they're rookies.
Let them grow.
But how old is he? 17, 18?
I think he's just 18? On the limit. Joel Esteban, he's either 18 or 19. So, he's 19, which is, he was at the age limit at the start of the year, And so, we should be given more time. Especially when Brasri scored 1 point all year long and has a seat, and he's 25. 25, it's just
it's just unfortunate, and I hate to see it happen because then he has to go through, if he can't get a seat in Moto3, he has to go through such a harder route to try and get his way back in.
Yeah,
I just think a year in is just way too early to call it on someone's career.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Hugely.
Especially from Aspar, who he rode for in the Junior World Championship and brought him into the World Championship.
But I just think that they've supported other riders so much, and like, look at say Jake Dixon, who he calls them his second family, and look how they have supported him when it hasn't always worked out. And I mean, there's loads of different riders. Izan Guevara has been with them since he was 15 years old.
Maybe even 3 titles, and he's gone, kicked out of the squad. Yeah, 2 titles. He won them the Junior World Championship and then the Moto3 World Championship. Gone, kicked out.
Yeah,
Sorry,
but he had time.
Yeah,
like Dixon's had time, Guevara's had time. You know, David Alonso's been incredible, so they're keeping him. They're bringing in Danny Morgado.
Yeah,
you know, I don't know. Not what I thought that Aspar would do. So it's nothing against Dennis Foggia, but more towards the team for kicking Joel Esteban out after a year. I think that is so unfair to do in Moto3.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
it's not right.
Yeah.
Do you want to? We'll keep on doom and gloom for a little bit, because why not?
Great.
I think the most heartbreaking thing I saw all weekend long was a post on a story, I think it was, from Sergio Garcia on Sunday night, and he posted a photo of him and the car from the team he's sponsored by, and was like, "Back home." On the Sunday night, and I'm like, you should be at the gala, mate. You shouldn't be home. You should be at the gala. And he's not, because he's 4th in the championship after just imploding. And that for me, I think, was like, because I root for Garcia. I rate him a lot, and
I love him.
That was difficult to see. I was like, that's so sad.
I don't think I've seen a season fall apart quite like that.
No.
To be honest, like, to go from...
He was like 60 points ahead or something stupid.
Yeah, a clear title favourite to just, to not even then being a top 3 finisher. I've not seen anything like that.
I mean,
I don't think.
I was actually quite surprised that he managed to hold on to 3rd place in the championship for as long as he did, considering the results that he had in the second half of the season. But I think that just goes to show the lack of fight from a lot of other riders in the championship. I mean, Iagura did manage to come into his own at the end. Aaron Canet, if he'd actually had a good start of the season, you could have said that he could have had that championship wrapped up. Dixon at one point, we were saying, could win this championship, and then he completely imploded. Tony Arbolino, we thought he was making a comeback. It never happened. Both speed up boys were absolutely nowhere to be seen for majority of the season, and the list goes on. I mean, fully deserved for Manuel Gonzalez to get 3rd. I thought that was actually really nice to see him at the gala and picking that up, and the ride that he had on Sunday, I think, just,
cemented that.
Yeah, 100%. But as much as Sergio Garcia should have been at that award ceremony, this is maybe another case of a massive learning curve. And I think that he could be one of those riders that will hopefully take the positives out of it, and things can only get better from this point. That you sort of hit the bottom and you realise sort of,
well, I hope so.
I need to do something about this, and whether that's, seeing sports psychologists or working with your team or whatever it is, I think, and I hope that Sergio Garcia comes back from it stronger, because looking at next year and looking at the competition, I'm like, if he can pull this together, 100% champion contender.
Yeah,
it's been just a weird Moto2 season. There's just not been those sort of like consistent favorites where you're like, oh, who's going to get the better of who this weekend? You're like, I don't know.
There was no championship fight.
Yeah, exactly. It's been such a weird one to predict or have any kind of... There's just been no clear favorite consistently, like week in, week out. It's been so... Which in some ways is what we've been asking for, like, is to have...
no idea.
Have race weekends where you're like, anyone could win it.
And that has happened.
It has.
I just think in the terms of like a title fight, it was just a bit.
And I think it's not been because there's been 5, 6, 7 riders who are really, really on it, and any of them could win it. It's just who's going to decide to show up. Which one of them is going to be good this weekend? And I don't know. Yeah, weird, but I still enjoyed watching it. It's been entertaining.
100%.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it. Before we go on to predictions, controversial one. What do you think of the new MotoGP logo?
Lazy.
Yeah, boring, uninspired, terrible.
Well,
Lauren, what do you think about it?
I like it.
Yeah.
I think it's inoffensive, but like black and white, and what struck me was the graphic that you shared, where it's like the M is borrowed from what is it, F1 Manager 2022 or something.
And somebody sent me a photo of their hair gel, and it was the same M as well. I was like,
yeah, like
someone got paid. You can't reinvent the wheel. This is what's annoying me about
a logo.
This.
It's literally
you can.
But like
for branding. A motorsport.
You make one that's better then. This is what's annoying me. There's a lot of people going, I could do better than this, and it's uninspired and blah blah blah. Okay, do it.
Like, not to inflate Deck's ego, but I think he could. It would at least make one that's different and not borrowing an M from somewhere else. And maybe has a splash of color.
Now, here's the thing, right? I have said I like the logo, okay? Yeah. When it first got leaked over the weekend and it was on a blank piece of paper with all of the other logos, I turned around and said, I do not like it. Okay? And I'll stand by that. I think just on its own, with a white background, it looks terrible. Of course it does. But at the awards ceremony, with the whole big production that they put on, the voiceover, I thought that was done very well. I think that video, their like manifesto thing that they put out, I actually really liked that. And then they put out their press release with the logos on some actually like over some really good pictures and the colorways and stuff like that. And I actually really like it. But on a blank piece of paper, I don't think it looks good whatsoever. But in the right context and on the social media, on their posts so far, and the look of their Instagram and the Twitter and stuff like that, I actually find it pretty nice. I think it's pretty unoffensive. Of course, it's going to take a lot of getting used to. I think the old logo was absolutely iconic. You look at it, you know what you're looking at. It's going to take time to get used to. Of course, not everyone's going to like it as well. But the thing is, in 2 years' time, no one's going to remember that the logo changed.
Well,
is it that big of a deal?
Just for a point, real quick. Like, so that I think so. People don't like change, and that's quite often why 99% of people on social media like just hate things is because it's change, right? And I'm like, I'm cognizant of that, and I don't not like this because it's just change. I think it's the point that you just said there that like I cannot see this being an iconic logo.
No.
Like you said with the last one, the old logo, it's an iconic logo.
But then am I just saying that because it's been the logo for as long as I can remember?
Nah, it's unique. Well, it's got something about it.
It's got character, but like the old one.
Yeah, I can't see it being iconic, and people are like, that was a great piece of design. Because
the thing I have a problem with is the catch line.
Oh, the 3 words.
Last on what was it? First on the throttle, last on the brakes.
That was Matt Dunn's creation.
Brilliant, right? They brought that in 2016. Absolutely brilliant. I wish they'd kept that because that was a much more catchier tagline. It was more MotoGP. That is the thing that I'm actually annoyed about in the whole situation here. is I think their little 3-word slogan, what is it, faster, forward, fearless or whatever.
Yeah.
Don't like it. I think it's a
that's
bit
lazy
silly.
too. I think that's lazy too. It's so common, this like one word or like 3 words with a full stop in between them all. It's like, it's so like eBay, buy it, sell it, love it. Cool. Do you know, it's so
Hotel Trivago.
Yeah. Lazy. Logo's lazy. It's not an iconic logo. And the slogan is also lazy. That's my take. I don't hate things just because they're change, but I don't like this change.
But the thing is, not everyone's gonna like it. So
no, exactly.
I don't want to be angry at people for saying that they don't like it, because you're totally entitled to your own opinion. And at the start of the weekend, I didn't like it either. There are still bits of it that I don't like, of course. With everything, you're gonna all see it slightly differently. But I think heading into the new year, hopefully with this Liberty Media deal done, which isn't done yet, guys, may I add, this has nothing to do with Liberty Media.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's another thing.
I'm hoping that this will go hand in hand, and that it's like the start of what can hopefully be a great partnership. I mean, there's plenty of things that I want Dorna to change moving forward. And I think changing their logo and the wee slogan and sort of the designs and the graphics, like from what I've seen so far, I don't mind it. I like it. And the press release, I liked. And the video with Emilia Clarke, great to have such an iconic person doing the voiceover. I thought it was great. I could recognize the voice. I just couldn't pinpoint who it was. I thought all of that was good. So I just see it as a positive that they're willing to change.
Do something. Yeah, like that is a good point. Yeah.
I think,
and of course, not everyone's gonna like it, but
I mean, look, from my perspective as somebody who does this as a job, and I have obviously friends that do it as a job. One of my friends runs his own design agency, doesn't like MotoGP, not interested in MotoGP in the slightest. I sent him over the logos and all that, and he was like, "This is appalling. Absolutely tore it to shreds." And other people, it's just not, for me, recognizable. I think that it could be, there's no character to it. It's a bit flat. You're trying to create this whole new thing that makes people excited about it and makes you go, yeah, and smacks you in the face. And, F1 did it a few years ago. They changed that really cool one where it was the one was kind of hidden within in the negative space of the logo to the one they've got now. And people were like, ugh, what the frick is this? And over time, people have gone, actually, you know what? It's all right. And it is. I do like the new logo. It's nice. But I think this one, I don't know, it just doesn't, because they've changed all the social media things. Yeah, no, don't like it.
I see, that makes me like it. I like that press release. I thought it looked good.
It shouldn't need fancy backgrounds for you to be like, it's a nice logo.
It should just
no,
go
but
bam.
But in anything, that if I look at something, like, that's what I like about it.
Yeah.
Like, when it's added to a really cool photo that a photographer within MotoGP has taken and they put that on top, I think that's what can make it iconic and make it stand out. But the thing is, it's not going to be iconic from the start, and it's not going to be recognizable from the start. We're going to need to take time to
I think
to get used to it is the thing.
Readability though is hard. Like, I go on the website and I genuinely find it hard to read some of these things that they've got because of the new weird little font they've got. And then they did a post earlier for like the rider changes and things like that on it, the 2025 rider moves. And it's just difficult to read. If you're on a computer as well and the screen's smaller, you're not reading those names. Whereas the old font, you could read it all and it was a lot nicer and easier to read. Whereas this just seems it's just messy, and for a design company that, is designing stuff for Waze and things like that, to produce something like this, that overall, the vast majority of people, I would say as high as 99%, from reading through all the comments I see online stuff, people are disliking it wholeheartedly.
No, I think that's extreme. I think saying 99% of people
From
that don't like
99
it
of what
is...
I've seen, if you go through the
Okay, but
comments on my
that's...
posts, people are like, that is appalling.
Okay, well, everyone I've spoken to likes it.
Okay. Maybe we've got our own little echo chambers.
No, but clearly that within your circle, and okay, yeah, you're saying with your followers, but the people that I have spoken to, they like it. So I think it's bold of you to say that 99% of people don't like it.
I said 99% of the people I have seen. Not 99% of the people, just what I've seen.
Yeah. So, mixed reviews.
Well,
yes.
Jordan from Crashing It likes it, so...
Oh, then, if Jordan from Crashing It likes it, then...
Why didn't you open with that?
Yeah,
Lauren?
come on.
Oh, God, yeah, sorry, guys.
Yeah.
I'm just, you know,
10 minutes.
There are like people within the sport, like names as well, that do like it. And my circle of friends that are interested in the sport like it. So
fair enough.
Sorry, I roast everyone. It's fine.
Yeah,
you roast me, I roast you. You know, it's one of them.
Don't get me started.
Yeah, we've been doing this a while. That's the way it goes. Anyway,
I get too salty on this podcast as it is, so I'm just gonna I'm gonna leave it there.
I would never have guessed that one. Anyway, prediction time, everybody.
Here's your
final
revenge,
time
Lauren.
of the year. The predictions championship. I tell you what, it was a good effort by everybody this year. Obviously we'll try and change round the way the points are scored next year. Probably copy the BSB format with 18 points for a win, and then do a kind of a showdown at the end of the year. We'll work it out. If you've got suggestions, send them in, of course, as well. So heading into the final race weekend of the year, I lead with 986, Lauren with 874, and Cameron with 792. In Moto3, Cameron correctly predicted Alonso on pole. Lauren correctly predicted Holgado for second, and we all put Alonso for first to take his 14th win out of 20, which is amazing.
Wild.
So I scored 25, Cameron 35, Lauren 45, closing in 20 points on the lead. Then in Moto 2, so that leaves me with 1,011, Lauren with 919, and Cameron with 827. In Moto 2, me and Cameron correctly predicted Canet for pole, and Cameron also predicted Canet to win, leaving it at me with 1,021, Cameron with 862, and Lauren with 919 again. And in the MotoGP, Lauren predicted Bagnaia on pole, Cameron predicted Bagnaia to win the sprint, Lauren predicted Marquez in second. Cameron, if Martin and Marquez were switched, would have a full sweep on the podium. But unfortunately, we had Marquez third, Martin second, and Bagnaia to win. Which would have taken second place from Lauren.
I know.
To round out the year with me for the third time in a row champion with 1,021, Lauren with 954, and Cameron closing in nearly 40 points in the last race to 899.
How far behind you was I?
What's 1,021? 21 minus 954. 67. And then Cameron was on me, 122? Which is pretty close.
If I got that full sweep at the end, I nearly would have had first.
Woo! Yeah. If you'd got that sweep.
I almost had another full sweep the other week too.
Yeah, you
Mine
did,
were like the other way around.
So you say about the points not working, but it was pretty close by the end of it.
I think we actually ended up somewhat like evening out as the year went on. Like for you, Deck, to have been so far ahead, I think we closed in on you considerably by the end of the season.
And if we do the BSB, it'll be tighter next year as well.
Tighter.
My Devon accent came out then. Jeez.
Oh yeah.
Who are?
Wow.
You take the man out of Devon, you can't take Devon out of the man.
Here.
Yeah.
We do need to go over our predictions from the start of the season on a podcast soon. That'll be good.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's the awards show, isn't it?
That
That
is
we do every year.
the On the Gas Awards.
Yes.
Oh?
First edition of the On the Gas Awards.
We need to get
Obviously,
dressed
Lauren
up for it, Lauren.
didn't do
Couldn't
half
even
of
tell
these,
you we
but
did that last year, so there you go.
You did.
I did.
And you
I
got
filled them
dressed
all
up
in.
and drank alcohol. No, you didn't do Disappointments and Team World Champions.
Well, why not? You sent them
Shocking.
to me, did you not?
Yes. And then
I was
I even
travelling
asked
at
you in the
this
group
point,
chat
guys.
and was like, can you do it, please? And you didn't reply. So I was like, we're going to have to do it
Did I
without
not?
that.
Oh, well, I have Rider of the Year, Biggest Improver.
No. Yeah, let's
Yes.
save it for the awards.
save it.
All right. Sorry, I'll
Let's-
speak to you after this about this then. Yeah, I have like Team World Champion, Independent Champ.
Interesting.
It's a surprise.
Let me screenshot it actually so
all
that
right.
I don't change any of the... You can see the date and the time I did it at the top of my screen, so...
All right, that's fine. We can
Right.
add them in.
Okay, good.
But yeah, I think that's everything for now.
I believe so.
I think
Happy
we covered everything.
2024 season, everybody.
Well
Yeah.
done, Jorge Martin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nailed
And Ayagura and David Alonso. David Alonso,
Yep.
obviously, with a record-setting season. He actually did. He finished with 421 points, which beat Marc Marquez's 2019 record, which is incredible until you realise that Marquez did it with one less race.
Oh, okay.
Which is still...
Never mind then.
It's still incredible for Alonso. What was the gap? It was...
160.
Yeah. 100. Let's have a look.
5?
Was it 41
Someone
minus
needs-
256?
Someone needs to make that meme of The Incredibles when the kid's sprinting like right at the end with all of his classmates, and he's like trying to make it look like an even race, and then at the end, he's like, just win by a little bit. Like someone needs to do that, but with Alonso as Flash.
That's
Flash?
a great idea.
Dash. Something like that. Yep.
Dash.
Dash. That the Jack's a little kid, isn't he?
There you go.
Yeah.
There's actually a meme
Yeah, I don't
template.
know.
There's actually a meme template for it.
You're welcome.
Do it. Yeah, I will invoice you for however much money that generates.
That's another 20 quid.
Yeah.
Alright.
I'm going to make that meme. That's good.
Amazing.
That's good.
Right.
Right.
Cool.
So,
Well,
yeah. Oh, it's 165, by the way, he won by
I said
165.
Whoa.
Well done.
Another 100 points to Lauren. She actually won the predictions. in the end.
she
Well done,
is so smart and she pays attention to the things that don't actually matter.
She is so smart.
Like how many points back was
Smart.
Danny Holgado on David Alonso? But still,
Yeah, via third. Yes.
go Colin
Going
Barr.
through the championship at the moment. Tatsuki Suzuki. No idea if we'll see him next year. I genuinely doubt we will. No, he's 27. He'll be... Oh, no, he can
He's
do one
old.
year.
28.
Yeah,
it's
28.
his last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, shall we wrap up?
Yes, we
Anywho,
should.
Yeah.
We'll see you on
like.
Thursday. Well, no, we'll record on Thursday or something. I don't know.
Okay.
We've not decided when we'll
some
record yet.
testing chats.
Yes, we'll talk about
Well, I was just going to
testing.
say, you will see us again this week with testing chats, but apparently we're doing
Oh,
it
yeah.
on Thursday, guys. So
I don't know. I don't even know when this will be uploaded because I'm busy. I can do it tomorrow afternoon, of course. I can upload it tomorrow afternoon. Don't worry.
Okay, then.
After
yeah, Jack's
testing.
unemployed, so I don't know why he's talking like
Suddenly
he's
he's busy.
I've got to be
No
in
job.
Liverpool tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning. Thank you. That's an hour
Liverpool.
away from me. So Liverpool.
Yeah.
All
So
right,
please
wow.
like, subscribe. Let us know your thoughts on the MotoGP logo.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Keep it, algorithm friendly. That would be great.
Yeah.
Be nice. Bell icon. What
Yeah.
else? Rate podcast wherever you
Smack
get your
that
podcasts.
All on the floor.
All that good stuff.
Instagram, TikTok.
On the
Whoa.
gas Instagram. How's our
Wow.
TikTok doing?
All right.
I saw
Nice.
one that had like a few thousand views. Was it like nearly 10k
Hell yeah.
or am I chatting rubbish?
I think you're chatting rubbish.
Let's have a look.
Someone please watch one of our TikToks 10,000 times.
I don't think we've
Yeah.
hit those sort of highs.
I don't know. We're getting around 1,000, 2,000 nearly on one of them. Let's go.
Wow.
Let's go.
Hell yeah.
Nice. Oh, the Everything
Have a
Motor
lovely
Racing
week, everyone. Enjoy testing. Or you will have already enjoyed testing by the time
Yes.
Yeah. So hopefully everything we've talked about in this podcast has
Comes true.
come true
Marquez
for
slaps the
2025.
field.
Hell yeah.
Sound.
Are we
Right.
signing off?
Yeah, we
signing
should.
off. Enjoy. Smell
We'll
you
see
later
you-
this
everyone.
week. Ciao.
We'll see you later. Ciao,
See you
ciao.
later.
Bye.